I had to go through that. 'Cause I had to remember where I was up to because I get sometimes I got to so many places I get the geography mixed up. But in any case, I'll never forget the hassles I went through to be able to go through the Darien Jungle. And I had read a book about these two British backpackers that got taken as hostage in the Darien Jungle. And I read this book just a year before I went to do this journey, and it was very real. And how dangerous the Darien Jungle was. So all of a sudden I found myself in Panama and I had to make a decision to go through the Darien Jungle or be flown around it or go on the ferry around it or fly over the top of it. And I had all these arguments and debates with politicians, including some of our own, that did not want me to go through there because it was too treacherous and too dangerous, and they didn't want an international incident to be created through my journey. And it wouldn't have been good for Red Cross either. So I got all of that, but my stubbornness prevailed. And I said, look, you can't go all the way through the North Pole and then ditch the Darien Jungle just because it's difficult, So I said I made a rule right from the start that I wouldn't, I can't swim across huge oceans from Ushuaia to Antarctica. So yes, granted, so long as it's less than a day's flight, I will fly down to there.
Yep.
But wherever there is a landmass, I will run across it. So anyway, so the Darien Jungle was it. And I remember I had to get my crew to take our support vehicles via a ferry system, and they went around through and they landed in Colombia from Panama, and they landed on the west side of Colombia. Now, I went through the Darien Jungle and I ended up in Turbo over on the other side of Colombia.
Yes.
And so, and I was taken through there with 19 armed soldiers who were part of a designated joint force that were part of both the Colombian and the Panamanian governments. And their job was to go into the jungle, find bad guys that were bringing up drugs or bringing up arms from South America into Central America and taking them on into America. And their job was to eliminate them.
Wow.
Not bring them before a court of law, not jail them, not fine them.
Bang.
Yeah. Get rid of them. And they called it hunting season. Wow. And they would go into there and
you're running through this.
It's hard to believe.
It is. It's
hard
crazy.
to believe. And here I'm a runner from Australia, and all of a sudden I'm in this circle of people. And these people are taking me through there. And these were, you talk about Bear Grylls and some of these guys. These guys, their bread and butter, their life was about surviving in the jungle. They lived off the land, and I did as well. Consequences of all of that, and their job was to get me through from one side to the other in one piece. And we went through. They had machine guns, they had guns, they had rifles, they had machetes, they had everything that they needed. And we went through the thickest of the jungle. Because they were concerned that if we got out into any of the open areas closer to the coastline, that we would be, easy pickings for the bad guys.
Not to ping off.
So how long was it?
It was only 5 days, but I got to tell you, it was 5 days. It was a build-up of incredible heat and humidity through the day. Anybody who lives in the northern part of Australia knows and understands this. And then at the end of the day, the rivers that we were going across, or the areas that we were going across, would go from 1 inch deep through to 6 feet deep within 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
Within 30 minutes. And so when they said, we're not going any further today, we have to set up camp, that meant that you strung a hammock in the trees about 8 foot up in the trees, or about 2 meters or 2.5 meters up in the trees, and the water would rise up to just below your butt while you were sleeping. And so I obviously listened to everything that they had to say, and I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I survived it. But I'll never forget getting through to the other side of the Darien Jungle, and this armed forces handed me over to the Colombian police, and they signed off on me there, and they said, "He's your responsibility now." And then I went back to thank them. We were at a place called Turbo in Colombia, and I went back to thank them. They were around the back of the police station, and they were there crying their eyes out. And I said to Lieutenant Perez, I said, why is everybody so upset? What's the matter? And he said, they've never saved a life before. They've only ever taken lives. He said their job is to find the bad people and kill them. But through you, they may have saved many lives. And
Wow,
that gave me the gravity of what I was doing at that moment. I didn't realize the effect I was having on people and what I was really there for, but the message had filtered through each of the countries of why I was doing what I was doing. And it was far beyond the amount of money raised. It was far beyond the presence at that point in time. It was changing the mindset in so many people along the way.
What a special comment to hear. And you're roughly halfway through at that point.